This time around, we want to speak and throw the fact out. In the final voice, for the first time, we will blend the English and the tree. If you say your audience more na ATHC programs. It's about the LGBTQ plus issues happening in Ghana now. It's about Dormaahene's comment on the LGBTQ plus and what Ghana can do to stop LGBTQ plus. Are we serious as a nation? By the LGBT, you want some to be us here. The global gay activist or lobbyist, and the global gay orientation, and I said the global LGBT orientation. It's as if it's a Ghana for the global gay lobbyist and as an activist for us. Like the case of US Vice President Kamala Harris coming to Ghana. So you will see some of these activists, these lobbyists coming to Ghana to make sure so my Ghana aji gay ahead atum. But one aspect is also the orientation. So we discuss these two today. The man Ghana bit my now just topic gay and I say LGBT and then lesbianism in Ghana. Lobbyist and I said the global gay activist and that's lobbyist no. Omo de say omo de gay no ever back through emra uhia debi. Emra ho akire a uhia bosia no. That is where you will hear these people. The global gay or the global activist, no, they hide behind the veil of human rights. Yet the human rights for human rights I say. The global lobbyist or the global activist always hide behind the veil. They hide behind the curtains of human rights. If you saw them say, okay, human rights, they are better say. Say ye tietia obi fa ho die so no. Ompene so. Enya dia ebe obi afe. Ana say e obi afe. Into so anipa hide behind the veil or the curtain of ye human rights for ye nhwe ma obi tietia obi fa ho die so dia. Ebia na wapene so. This is the work of the global lobbyist and as an activist. So what I say? What about the orientation, the global orientation? The fascinating so, the fast social media so, and okay, the algorithm. What Ghana see? Okay, YouTube algorithm and our Facebook algorithm in Ghana. When this video finishes, like it's a video we play here. Just as you think, say, excuse me, just as you think, say, the next topic should relate to what you just watched, you know. Now, you go for Obane Bema be who some day. Abba, and that's what you're gay for, and now you're lesbians. Same on Facebook, Netflix, movies are all hanging now. On my channel, the agenda of the LGBT through the movies that you watch on Netflix. That is the orientation. And to who by you say be your own fahom. Obey you say be Kamala Harris back Ghana. Montiase. Ghana for be you say ye be shamra like Parliament seeks to do. Say Parliament to say or be shamra stop LGBT. Possible. But what about the orientation? Senior here. Social media so no more no abane ya way. Say the global lobbyist or the global gay no can penetrate or promote the agenda of LGBT through movies. And also on social media now, is the government aware? This abane yawa. Abane yawa, did not abane yafa. This is what I call it, the global LGBT orientation. Because gay wants some orientation. Oh my crown, the na kind of And China Nansam was over here. Ghana, primary schools. These people, the lobbyists, the gay activists, no, they wanted our children to learn something about LGBT. They wanted our children to learn, say, Musia say Bemano or Badakra Bonibianim. They wanted our children to learn, say Bemane da, and I said Bemane every Omano or every Omanoa Bonibianim. This is the job of the global lobbyists, the global activists, the LGBT activists. No, they make sure say platform yo menya bia, podium yo menya bia. No, they will make sure say they will preach LGBT under the guise of human rights. Yeah, they human rights activists. To now saying, yeah, Mami Kamala Harris by Ghana, the Obeka Biano, and you was from some. So why until the Kamala Harris can ya? I think so. I have the voice here. Mami, Shenamin play Obenya Bieti. Kamala Harris was in Ghana, telling a whole champion, Nanado, Mampaine Akufo-Addo, say, Papa, media may be a human right in you. Now, Kamala Harris, who are human right in here? Who are human right in Nichen, Mampaine Akufo-Addo. Mampaine Akufo-Addo are practicing human rights since the 70s through the 80s. Now, Harris, now, who am I saying? Mumientie asama mami Kamala Harris Beckham Ghana. Excuse me.
One thing very clear.
Sorry. Kamala Harris was in Ghana, yeah. Mumientie. Mami nese say.
And let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change.
Question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed.
Before Mampaine Akufo-Addo speaks, no, Mumia sent the Mamene Sakai. Mamene ba no tokwaso. Mamene ba no. Eni breso. But the muntie. What's the first of all? Okay, first of all, we are to the Obeka.
And let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American...
Let me be clear of where we stand. Here in America, Jina. Sabasa was a Ghana, Jigay Tuma. Let me be clear. Diente me ba Ghana. Let me be clear. Sa podium imaginatory. Diente me jina haya kasa. Excuse me. Let me be clear. Tie. Oye broni ba, ya training the self ba, kasay. Diente au ko Ghana nes okay. So he wants to be succinct, brief. She wants to be brief and succinct. Let me be clear as a vice president of US of A. So also men kasa, let me be clear. Mumientie.
And let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change.
Question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed to the Parliament of Ghana, which has all kinds of ramifications, which is now being considered by the Parliament. It hasn't been passed. So the statement that there is legislation in Ghana to that effect is not accurate. No legislation. The bill is going through the parliament. It's going through the parliament. The Attorney General has found it necessary to speak to the committee about it regarding the constitutionality or otherwise of several of its provisions, and the parliament is dealing with it. At the end of the process, I will come in. But in the meantime, the parliament is dealing with it. And I have no doubt that the parliament of Ghana will show, as it's done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response to the proposed. The legislation was a legislation that has been provided as a private member's bill. This is not an official legislation of the government, but it is one that has been mooted by a handful of private members. So we will see what the final outcome of it. But my understanding from a recent discussion I had with the chairman of the committee, the substantial elements of the bill have already been modified as a result of the intervention of the Attorney General. We will see what the final outcome will be, and that is the stage at which I will also have the opportunity to prevent.
And let me be clear about
Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo was not straight. He was not bold to tell my son, Mammy, your chromo yent me LGBT entum and ne and I saw China. Like Mampany at a mouse date. Mampany for it, man, Cassandra by my men say. You say US son, we your word unipolar and our superpower. But say by LGBT and I say embryos, yes, many pango toma. Na a many penya asitana pa. Yeah, Ghana inimute because me man Panyini Akufo-Addo Krano be a human rights activist. And Kassan and Sembi said ye and can be idea pa. Name about LGBTQ plus idea. Mean to me shemyenche or Ghana. Man Panyini and me answer chere and can't mameno. Every say on my Ghana ejina IMF pabosia. If it's on my Ghana, in a Paris club, Paris club, Chelsea, or Mufaya Yaka, Yadu Munchayan. On my Ghana, $3 billion, a whole package as a relief for the economy, or IMF. Now, your Maya, if you lose 3 billion cities, the same money that you're looking for from IMF, you lose that money through corruption and answer to graft. Ghana loses 3 billion cedis to graft each year. 3 billion Feli Pansase. Now, wow, what's a question? IMF say IMF is how much 3 billion. Ne bad dinner bay. Mampany Akufo-Addo are buying within 6 years. What $51 billion? What's the answer? No, $51 billion. 90 million man Ghana ye. $3 billion dinner bay. Oh, your my inflation. Oh, my West Africa, Ghana. As people used to say, increments Ghana. That's an inflation. Inflation grew 52.3%. Obi be free America. Abbe show say jige tum, jelesmenism tum. Because so much low. Independent do so. You go there for economic relief. You go there for loan and that's a grant. Sani pano ebe shem rama. Sani pano be shem rama say kwana kohema e mema na. Kwana kohena e man na. If say waba me ho bosia bo. So waba me ho bosia bo dia ene bosia no dia ta hu nie. Uko krom ho a kwana koje LGBT tum. Ntemra Mame Kamala Harris science ka $100 million ama Ghana no. Na ya man pagini gene sagu na chi because esika no Ghana here. Obeto public debt of 120 billion cedis. Nessa net public debt drew 820 billion. Sa o man no ekwa ho kirem. O man no adane manfo Ghana ayemre e wo sunsumu. Ghana yemre ewo honamani ene sunsun mu. Nti Ghana I was see a call for the 18th time. Mako 18 times ye call IMF ekopo bosia anasa sika. Okuta 3 oil fields. Baby a ye tu petrol kwa de bo omai bi ho bra no. Ghana kota miensa omai bi ne bi. Ye ntimi hwe so anyusu petrol sika no emwa nkora. Ye ntimi hwe so anyusu fuel money emwa my Ghana. At the time biano you will run to IMF. And when you go to IMF, they will tell you say yankomo bino. Okay, okay, yankomo bino. LGBT no. Kwana kwa jitum. Oyo maya rating agencies like Fitch, like Bloomberg, like Moody's, as what RD. Yes, all mine kwani. Onka rating ho, we can rate you. Ajiagu and normal agency repe. I pin so assign. And sovereignty rating agencies say Ghana is RD nation, not even C plus and D RD. So man, you'll be rushed to go to IMF to seek for refuge. You run to IMF to seek for money. Yeah, biano, you lose the same money to graft. $3 billion no, ebi wa money. One ya ahwe yenti. Yenti mi hwe sika so nti. Ena na yadru IMF. Ghana adana manfo. Nti nipa be hye yen. Mame anase ababawa Harris beba Ghana. Be catch us jigetum na a human right or your global gay activist said on one kind no. Or say ono de obey vice president nya. They also oye. They also your man on my American we as and say obahwe ama ba bia also human rights in some epija bia no. Or so ono de hwema sa human rights in some near den. Epija. Excuse me. Or no vice president no. Ono se hwema human rights in some ba bia no. Or no asade ne say na sade ne say also hwema human rights in some pija. Na North Korea omakoho human rights in some Iraq omakanwi human rights in some Russia omakanwi if it's untimi fa sa won sam na nyadan enkoho untimi fa sa won sansam we na nyadan enko Russia and North Korea and Iraq. Your foreign policy is only targeted to countries omomre. The foreign policy is targeted to at countries omuhia bosia. Ghana ya mere osunsumu ene honamani. Nti wose ye ko na obi hye mayen. Dormaahene aka simple and straight. Na Dormaahene se musa babawa ne say mampanyini and as a vice president Kamala Harris say o ba no na be ma di wachi o se be ma ne ye wukunu fe sa na yenim no say aware ye be ma no oba na wo ba baka kire say ye man na ye man enware ye mema ne mema nware no papa na oka ho ba no ye ode yin nti wo ye lesbian na so I contradictory. You can see the contradiction. Me missing the human rights. Na kwa be so kra na bema da enye problem. Oba na bema da enye problem. O so wo ba na bema di wachi. Bema fefefe. Bema ni monyamfo bi. Na Dormaahene se musaf say. In fact, one great chief for Wakasa so far about LGBT. Was see musaf say. Na bema na kan ho no. Bema na within the free America buy no. Or your dear. And until say the economy. Until say Ghana. Ebe jai sa IMF hoko for policy credibility. To to seek policy reformation and also to reform the economy or to revive the economy no. Obenya mra abrofi be shama. So what 820 billion as revenue. Na se no na so within 6 years. But 3 billion e be so a asem wo ho a wo se ebusa. Asem wo ho. It means I was a Ghana heading. To no normal ye. So Ghana to me to the normal year. Excuse me. Obi me shembra mayen. Obi me shembra mayen. But as it stands na dey, obanya nipa o metina America. Nipa o metina China. Nipa o metina Germany ashembra ma. Because dabia no se ugina omo prochi ani. Oman Ghana debt to GDP ratio 103%. Debt to GDP ratio and when they 56%, no must say, hey, yanti be that Mampagini Mahama abo mine. You must Ghana for say. Nyampi before Ghana for Motuaba. Ghana for the choose government. You must Ghana for say. And the debt to GDP ratio, you're saying. Inflation, you're saying. Dollar to city, you're saying. Mampagini Bahomia vice president. Or say, so person almost or maybe a bo. But person almost or maybe a Daniel Manfo. Or person almost or maybe a pija. And I say or maybe a progress. If that economy is becoming an emerging or developing economy, check the fundamentals. Because the fundamentals will always expose you. The fundamentals will always expose that economy or that president. Anoma ya ajinsemu. Ajinsemu anesa. Tiyansha somebody will sit somewhere and dictate to Ghana. That is what we have to prevent. We have to stop that by making sure say our people have the basic needs. Shelter, clothing, and food. And on top of it, let's add security. Ghana timamufono ehia shelter. Timamufono ehia clothing. Omo hia food. Omo hia hospitals. Omo hia security. I mean schools. Now we just say we nyina wie 3 oil fields. And $51 billion. Now so say over say 5 trillion old cities. Over say 5 trillion old cities across cathedral. Not even at this point in time, you need foundation for the cathedral. Na say na Ghana koyana say buy. You spend almost 3 to 5 trillion old cities on a so-called cathedral. And this why you insinuate. Yes, yeah, you put the gym na ya bon pa ya manyamia. Kenya ya. You intimate cathedral anyway. After spending 3 to 5 trillion old cities. Momu yankasa. Momu yankasa mu be. The kono entwaye. Mampagina Akufo-Addo anya bold to tell Kamala Harris say LGBT no maso na maso china. But momu yantie das asema mampagina Atamils, Ghana's former president ekaye about LGBT. Same matter sorry. Some time ago, the same matter, sorry. Ama mampani beno, mampani Atamils, ekasai. Ose Ghana, enyum tumu ne, enyum tumu echina. Mampani Mahama so kasai. Se Ghana, a secular state. And none of the sect is willing for gay, and I say LGBT. Christians, enkaso omo pe LGBT ajiatum. Muslims, enkaso omo pe LGBT ajiatum. The pagans enka say omo pe LGBT agiatum ento no de oda omo no man pagina Mahama asem no oso no de oda doma no na doma no mu bia ni ho a omo pe LGBT de agiatum o Ghana enne anase ochena ento no Mahama no ontimi nyintum. This is what we were looking for. Be bold and speak. Momientie asema man pagini Atamils eka nimrebi about LGBTQI.
One thing very clear. No one can deny Prime Minister Cameron his right to make policies, take initiatives, or make statements that reflect his societal norms and ideals. But he does not have the right to direct other sovereign nations as to what they should do, especially where their societal norms and ideals are different from those which exist in Prime Minister Karam's society. I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana. As a government, we will abide by the principles enshrined in our constitution, which constitution is supreme. Let me also say that whilst we acknowledge all the financial assistance and all the aid which has been given to us by our development partners, we will not accept any aid with strings attached if that aid will not inure to our interest, or the implementation or the utilization of that aid with strings attached would rather worsen our plight as a nation or destroy the very society that we want to use the money to improve.
The president also talked about competing interests or issues requiring his attention.
Well, I was scheduled to go to the Chogum meeting. I'm sure some of you would have been even members of my entourage, but the last reality in Ghana. As a government, we will abide by the principles enshrined in our constitution, which constitution is supreme. Will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana. As a government, we will abide by the principles enshrined in our constitution.
So Tieman Pagina Tamel's audio, yeah. He was very brief. Succinct. Pain was in the pain. Was it my buying, no, mint me near the moment, me share, and my young pass LGBT. And to besides your constitution, you do so as a sovereignty nation. Now your sovereignty nation, and then I'll tell you, Obisham Rama. Obisham Rama, because so like a common dose can you all and to them I'm on same drum mansion or pebbles here. So what was idea if Ghana keeps going to IMF, if Ghana goes out to seek for loans, to seek loans, to ask for people to give us money, these countries will make sure that Ghana will pass LGBT. They will give us conditions. So to stop that LGBT agenda in Ghana, no, I will say yet to no more bra as a nation. So but ya yan kwa jebosia, yan kwa amansan drum mason kwa bosia de bia. Ya brobosia sa a day will come, they will be bold and say sa long radio on sabaka dia kwa gain LGBT2. Mommy heard the orientation part 2. Sini ye ya mamre obetumi kwatena TV so no bemo na wa address it so ba TV so. Oko schools ma, some schools have some activities. Some man changing koma, no man changing mema. All these things are your orientation. Are your orientation? Man changing koma, man changing mema no. You may think so for entertainment keke, but are your orientation? Obi na start here. Obi na start here and neither abaka ho. Senior ye no. Yahwe, and we say it will not orient us. It will not orient our children and brothers and sisters into accepting LGBT. The Asian school subject matter A whole topic na ye chira kura no. Wouldn't that topic make the child feel say, oh, na sa bema ne bema da, boni bi ani mana. They say our one last hope. Our last hope is the Parliament of Ghana. So Mesham Rajiatum. Now your mom pa say global activist, you know, any global gay for no enko treat your bribe. Say global lobbyist ni global activist ni ko treat your bribe. And as I say MPs ni be LGBT for omo ye gay. Say MPs ni be ye tromutu for the omo pass law no. Ya hwen you me pass it. But Parliament remains our last hope. So we pass LGBT to Ghana. Mumiantie Asama, the Speaker of Parliament, may Honorable Speaker Alban Babin, about LGBT bill, and then the passage.
We need to legislate. Our friends just passed their law in Uganda. We may not go the way they have gone because our constitution is very clear as to the direction we should move. And so we'll be guided by that. When we pass any law against the constitution, it's unconstitutional. So we have to do that. And so what are you afraid of? If you have the whole people behind you, if God is with you, who can be against you? And if God says, please go into the wilderness, multiply and fill the world. That is God giving you that command. If somebody says, please, don't multiply, how can that person be strong? I don't only speak this way in Ghana. Even at the last meeting we attended in IPU at Bahrain, anybody who listened to my speech, there were sentences on this matter. Luckily, maybe because it's a Muslim country, they applauded me. If it's somewhere else, they will be asking questions. As the Vice President just did, is it yesterday? I mean, these things should not be tolerated. That is undemocratic. What is democracy? That somebody else will have to dictate to me as to what is good and what is bad? Unheard of. Because we have decided to devalue ourselves and go a begging. Come on. We have more than enough. God has created more than enough for every person. It's just because you are looking at somebody else's share, not yours. We have enough in the world. The bill will be passed. This is the word to His Excellency the President. There is no way he can intervene. That answer he gave. That is now before Parliament. And when he gets to a stage that he will come in. Hey, please. This is legislation. This is not execution. Wait until we pass it and then we direct you to execute it. That is why you come in. That is why we are representatives of the people. So in terms of law, which is part of policy, we finalize it. And then the executive now have the authority to implement it, to execute it. Let's get this clear. Once this bill is before here, he is not in charge. I am in charge. I hope the U.S. Vice President is not yet gone. We need.
So as it stands now, Ghana's parliament is the last hope to stop LGBT agenda, to pass a bill, or to make sure a bill passes, to prevent LGBT activities in Ghana. Utie, the Speaker of Parliament, as more kind now. Also, once we go a begging, once we go to other nations to beg for money, to take loans, they will instruct us, they will tell us, excuse me, to pass LGBT. These countries will tell us to pass the LGBT because you always come begging. As a nation. ti enya begging no na ye scale benya no ya fa mo amo oman ho bra na ye be chedi family and friends be chedi dia then the time may come no you're next going to IMF, you're next going to the Paris Club or China, you're next going to America for money, no. The next coming of US president or the vice president, no, Ghana may pass the LGBT bill or law because okobosi about the bia. Ohun son ahefo ne adehye papa bi medim besia but okoda bompaye ma Ghana bompaye ma Speaker of Parliament omo mato mu asi wo say do no make sure for the bill to pass no omo na hia yin paibo omo na hia support as a people of a nation. Ghana democracy, Ghana a sovereign nation. The antennas will be the same amount. Final Voice TV. And here would hear your final voice on gay huns and some LGBT huns and some. Yes, Sisuja, a kind of pain. Say Ghana and your maya. I also been a semra and mayan. Yanka sayan semra. Na yeni yamraso. Yamobra. Yamfasike benya biya mo Ghana hobra. Na man for nya hoto. Final Voice TV. Bidumbesia. Makramo.